Unchain my heart, baby, let me be. 'Cause you don't care, set me free. Unchain my heart, baby, let me go. Unchain my heart, 'cause you don't love me no more. You got me sewed up like a pillowcase. You let my poor heart go to waste. Unchain my heart, baby, set me free. Unchain my heart, baby, let me be.
Hey, good morning.
Unchain my heart,
This is Bob
'cause you don't wear me.
on Bob's Blues in the News. Hope everybody is doing okay. Oh, what's going on here?
Some fella said
Things are going in and out.
home. Unchain my heart, baby, set me free. Well, I'm under your spell.
Hey, testing 1, 2, 3. Hey, how's it going? I was trying to get into my podcast, and I was playing a little song called Unchain My Heart, which is a cover I like to do often because, we got to free ourselves to do what we got to do, right? And it could be a bad relationship. It could be bad karma. It could be bad philosophy. It could be, anything that keeps you back from doing your purpose in life, whatever your purpose is, you got to stay focused on your purpose. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I just want to get on a few minutes. It's Monday. No, not Monday. It's Tuesday. What day is it? Yeah, it's Tuesday morning, the 24th of March. No, the 24th of February. I don't know where. Stay focused, man. Stay focused on the day and the time. Yeah, let me get this right. It's Tuesday morning, the 24th of February. It's 8:54 a.m. in the morning. That's what it is. I haven't had my second cup of coffee yet, okay? So forgive me, all right? And the weather, you want to know the weather in Atlanta, Georgia? It's still cold. It goes back and forth. It's been doing that for the last couple of weeks. Or you would think it was spring and then the winter comes back. But that's typical. There's a clash between the spring and the winter. So who's going to win out? The spring will win out. The jonquils are starting to bloom. So that's a good sign. And hopefully the cold doesn't kill them all. But I'm looking forward to spring. I'm looking forward to the new year because we're still in the new year. 2026 just started, right? We got a lot going on for sure. Trump is going to give his speech tonight, State of the Union speech, and he's going to focus, talking about being focused, on the economy. He needs to do that because, when it comes to votes, it's the economy, stupid, right? And not everybody is feeling the Trump train right now. Some people still feel like they got, pushed off the train and they're still struggling to make ends meet. Well, some people are doing pretty well, but a lot of people in the trenches. And I hope they learn by going communist, by going socialist like they're doing in New York, it's not going to help. It's going to make things 100 times worse. We have to realize we're coming out of COVID. We're still feeling the effects of COVID, even though it's been several years since we got out of that plague, that whatever it was, that Chinese attack on the world, basically what it was. But now we got AI to face as well. So, we got a lot of headwinds. But Trump, I still say Trump has the right vision. I'm not always agreeing 100% on what he's doing, but he has the right vision. And I've been following the Middle East a lot, so I just want to make a couple of comments on what's going on over there with Iran. I want to always say you got to bum, Iran, bum. You got to take them out. I think just playing around with them is buying them time. And I think Trump is getting played a little bit. Witkoff and Kushner, I'm sure they got their hearts in the right place, but they're not always thinking right as far as dealing with these guys. Are very, 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 very manipulative. Manipulative. I'm drinking my second cup right now. And they know how to play the West. I think, this is not my original thought. I got this off a podcast somewhere. But it makes sense to me that actually Iran is not going to play ball with the United States. And Iran is baiting the United States because they know Trump doesn't really want to have war because, he's the peace president, right? And everybody loves the peacemaker, right? Even though sometimes you got to lay down the hammer, especially when you're talking about evil. But these guys in Iran, I think they want the United States to attack. And, and they want maybe to kill a few Americans, whatever it is. And, they'll get all the left people, all the people in the woke community and all the people like Tucker Carlson saying, see, I've told you it's going to be a disaster if you go into Iran. And as soon as one American gets killed, you're going to have all these politicians and these influencers saying, oh, it's a terrible idea. And they're going to withdraw and they're going to be able to stay in place and still save face, So that's what they're betting on, I think. And instead of Trump just going in and boom, 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 boom and getting over with, because I think if he went boom, boom, boom right away, I think you wouldn't have any other problem. I think the people on the street in Iran, the Persians would take over and they would manage it after that. That's my humble opinion. Now, what was he actually going to do in the end? I don't know. But, he's got all the military out there. He's got the aircraft carriers. He's got 2 aircraft carriers. He's got all these airplanes and equipment. And, he's been planning this for a while now. Although I realize it takes some time to get everything in order, right? To do a big attack like this. They got more equipment over there now than they had when they did shock and awe. And I think they just should do another shock and awe, to tell you the truth. But I know he says he's got to play the politics. He wants the border peace, and he wants everybody to get together and be hunky-dory. And he's got a good heart, Trump, but he doesn't think like these terrorists. These terrorists want to bring the end of the world. And that's their whole purpose in life, is to bring the end of the world and bring their 12th Imam on the scene. So everybody would be Muslim, and it would all go to some kind of Muslim heaven, and we would all have 32 versions, right? That's the way they see the world in the cosmos. So I don't know for sure how it's going to end, but I hope it ends well. I keep positive. But what's going on is very interesting. We live in very interesting times. I keep on saying that. So we'll see where it'll go. We'll see where it will go. Okay? And anyway, let me drink another cup of coffee. I don't know why I'm so crazy this morning. I really don't know. I think I'm losing it. Am I going really crazy? Look, I'm not taking cocaine. I'm not drinking a lot. I drink a little wine every now and then. But I feel full of energy, which is good. It's good to be full of energy. So I've got to go and leave this podcast and do other stuff, like work on my music. I've got finance business. Oh, it's Bob Jeter in the news, by the way. Did I tell you that? And if you need financing, look me up, First Capital Source, Bob at firstcapitalsource.com. I will help you get money for your business. I can do that. And you can look up bobjeter.com on the internet. And I got a website, a new website I just put up, I'm working on for my music. I got things going on with Bentley Records. I'll give a plug to Bentley Records because I really like Luca Diaz, who is the CEO over there. And he's got the right vision. And I see he just got a partnership with UMG and Virgin Records, which is fantastic. I've got a couple collaborations coming out with Pharrell Williams and then Post Malone. This is all good stuff, And in the meantime, I'm doing my podcast because I have to get all this stuff off my shoulders. Some people say if you're a singer, which I'm a pretty good singer, I think I got off fairly well. I write good songs every now and then. And, I'm not Liberace. I'm not, I don't know, who's a great opera singer? Pavarotti. I'm not him, but I do okay, So, and music is my passion. And so I stick with it. So I have a lot of hope for that, even though I'm an ancient guy. I'm an ancient warrior, and I've been around since the dawn of time. But I'm still here, and so I must be a reason I'm still here, right? So whatever you do in life, make sure it's a purpose. Feel like this is what I was meant to do, and go do it. No matter if it takes you 100 years to get it done. At least it's all about the struggle anyway. It's all about the battle. It's not once you get there. Usually, I've been reading, going on YouTube and seeing a lot of these stories about these old rockers and people successful in Hollywood or whatever. Usually, once they make it to the top, often, not all the cases, but often it's a big slide downward after that point because there's so much going on in their life, so many temptations, and they crash, So I'm blessed. I'm blessed by God, and I think God is in control. And I think He's the reason why I haven't been a giant success so far, because He's keeping me chilled, so I keep my sanity, basically. When I came on this first thing on this podcast, I wanted to talk about something else completely. I wanted to talk about the interview between Huckabee and Tucker Carlson. See, I got off track, and that's what happened. So basically, what I wanted to originally say, and I changed my mind because I ramble a lot. This is totally a ramble, okay? If you listen to me right now, you realize I'm not on drugs, and I'm on my second cup of coffee. But I'm wound up for some reason, so I'm just going to go with the flow. So even though it sounds like I'm rambling and making no sense, and I'm all over the place, well, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be all over the place. As long as you can bring it all back together in the end. And so I wanted to start off, and I told myself before I got on this podcast, because I don't write anything down, it's usually totally off the cuff. I wanted to talk about what went on with Huckabee and Tucker Carlson. Two items I want to hit upon, and I saw this on a couple podcasts too, where it explained. Now, Huckabee got himself in hot water. Huckabee, when Tucker was talking about what are the borders of Israel anyway, and if you go to Genesis, you'll see where it's written in Genesis about, they'll have lands between the Tigris and the Euphrates, which is a big area. It's taken over most of the Middle East. And Huckabee said something, and he said, you mean the Jews should take over that land? He said, yeah, why not? He said something frivolous like, maybe they should take over all that land. And man, were the Arabs angry after that. And Trump had to calm everybody down. I guess he was on the phone after that. Hope Huckabee doesn't lose his job. But I'm sure Huckabee didn't mean exactly that way. It means like basically the Jews need to have the land that was promised to them by God. Now, there's a problem when you read the Torah. The Torah has 70 levels of meaning, okay? So you can read it literally, but it doesn't always mean what it says when you read it literally. You have to go down sometimes 70 levels to really get to the truth. And in other parts of the Torah, it's obvious that it wasn't all the land from Euphrates to the Tigris, because look, when the Jews left Egypt, they went through the Sinai, right? That was not the promised land, even though the Sinai was part of the territory between the Euphrates and the Tigris. But yet, we know that was not the promised land because they were fighting to get through the desert 40 years before they actually got to the real promised land after crossing the Jordan. And that was west of Jordan. And not on the East Bank, even though a couple of tribes want to stay on the eastern side. But, so it was obvious that the promised land was not all that area. Now, there are maps in the later part of the Torah, and I'm not really sure what verse it is because I would forget, because I'm not like Rabbi Tovia Singer. If you wanted all the details, man, he knows it by heart, and he's got a photogenic memory. But there is a description of exactly the parameters of the Jewish state, and it's not all the land from the Tigris to the Euphrates. Okay, so that's a bad argument that was made, and also the idea, well, if the Jews of today are the same Jews that lived in the past, now that was Tucker's big argument too. And now we should have a genetic code. We should all trace back all the Jews today to prove that there really are the Jews from yesterday, from 2,000 years ago. We got to take their genes and compare it to Abraham's genes, his DNA. Now tell me, how are you going to get the DNA for Abraham? Ain't no way, Jose. So it's more than just, that's a false argument, because the Jews are a nation, okay? More than anything else. Their religion, their culture, blah, blah, blah. But really, they're a nation of people who believe in one God and believe in one tradition. That's the best definition of the Jews. And anybody they don't prophesy. They don't go out and try to get people to become Jewish today, They're not like the Christians or the Muslims. They say, yeah, if you be what you want to be, just stay righteous, that's fine. You don't have to convert. So they're not just like the other religions, you know what I mean? But you can convert and become Jewish. I converted and became Jewish, because I I met my wife. She was Jewish, and I got into it. And I feel like, yeah, this is really the right approach to the absolute. And so I know, but no, rabbi came up to me and said, yeah, you got to become Jewish. In fact, they don't want you to become Jewish. It took me 3 years to go through the process or more. And they said, you sure you want to do this? You know what happened to us back in the Second World War? I mean, we've been persecuted. We've been put down over thousands of years. You really want to be abused like this and discriminated against like this? It's a hard road, a hard path to go. So, but, people do it through 2,000 years because it's like Jethro, from the Bible. He saw the truth and he said, yeah, I'll make the sacrifice and I'll do it. So the whole argument is a false argument. It's a nation. And you can trace, the one last thing I want to say, you can trace back thousands of years, all the way back to Abraham. If you go like this, you teacher, student, teacher, student, teacher, student. There's always somebody in a generation, in any generation, that is the main sage or transmitter of the tradition in that, and he has students, and those students take that orally, and some written down as well. I'm going to get into the oral tradition and the tradition that's written down, but that line from teacher to student, you can trace all the way back 3,000 years. You have David, King David, for example. Let's start with him. You had King David, and then you had King Saul, and then King Saul had the person that followed him on a religious context. Okay? I'm talking about religiously. And you can trace that line, that whole line back, all the way back to 3,000 years, and you can see the commonality of this nation of people, and they all study the Torah, they all have the same language, and they all believe in one God and the Old Testament. And there's the oral law, too, which came out about 2,000 years ago. You can read that in Talmud, and the Gemara, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just saying this whole argument is a false argument. And I'm sorry Huckabee wasn't a rabbi. But anyway, he did the best he could. And I love Huckabee because he's got his heart in the right place. Anyway, love you all. I got to go and do other things, man. See you later. It's Bob on Bob's Blues. And the news. I'm sorry I ramble so much. Forgive me, would ya? Anyway, let's get on the Highway Redemption. Here we go.
I can feel the highway under my seat. Hey, sinners burning, I can feel the heat. Yeah, my dash is warm, but my top is down. Got my pedal to the metal for higher ground. When I get to the crossroads, I won't act the fall of lies, no. I'll like the four angels. Step inside, take a ride to the other side. Yeah, I broke down in Tennessee. Get back to Georgia seemed death for me. But I was found by Elijah's hand. No promise of fail would ruin his plan. There on that highway I was blinded by the light. Said the salvation was up ahead inside. Knew it was right, shining through the night. I'm on the highway of redemption. There's no speed limit where I'm bound. I'm on a road that has no wind, but before it's too late you should get your soul in shape. Still got room inside my car if you want to fly to the other side. Let's fly. There on that crossroads I was blinded by the light. Said salvation was up ahead inside. Knew it was right, shining through the night. I'm on the highway of redemption. There's no speed limit where I'm bound. I'm on a road that has no end. Before it's too late, you should get your soul in shape. Still got room inside my car if you want to fly to the other side. nation.